Hello, this is Faith at Faith and Books. I'm going to do a quick video today doing the Meet the Booktuber tag, which I saw a couple days ago, yesterday, I'm not sure when, at Byways in Bookland. And the original tag was created by the booktuber What Victoria Read. And I believe the woman's name is actually Victoria. And there's a bunch of booktuber tags that I've been wanting to do. The Dilemmas of a Book Nerd, the Small Booktuber tag. There's a bunch of them. But anyway, I'm going to do this one because I just saw it. This is the most recent one. So anyway, I'll just get started because I'll make it pretty quick. And I will link below to both the Jason at Byways in Bookland and to the original tag creator. So anyway, the first question is, it's called Meet the Booktuber. Please give your name, age, and location. So my name is Faith, and I am 59, and I'll be 60 in April, God willing. And I live in Northern Virginia. I actually was born in Washington, D.C., and I've pretty much lived in this area all my life except the year down near Charlotte, North Carolina. And I was during college, my first year of college, and then I spent 3 more years just about an hour north of here in Maryland, and then I spent 3 years in Baltimore. And all the rest of the time I've lived in Northern Virginia, so just outside of Washington, D.C. Do I have any siblings? And if, where do you come in the sibling order? Well, that's kind of a complicated question. I am number 10 out of 13 live births from my family. 2 died as infants. 1, so I only have 8 sisters left. And then 1, I have a sister I never met who died when she was 6 of congenital issues. And then my only surviving brother drowned when he was 19. So there's just 9 of us left, all girls. So in that way, I have 5 now living older sisters, and I have 3 under me. And my youngest has Down syndrome. So after my parents passed, myself and 2 other sisters are her guardians. That's how that works. Number 3, what do you do for work or uni? So I have been a stay-at-home mom for a long time. Right now, I am nanny to my brand new grandson and a little 4-year-old boy who lives with us. But that's unpaid work. It's just work of the heart. Way back, I did have a working life, but not I guess, a really long one. In college, during the summers and Christmas breaks, I worked at the Military Traffic Management Command, which was responsible for moving all the military. So we had contracts with moving companies and that sort of thing. And I just did clerical work. And then after I graduated from college, I worked as a clerical support or like a typist, receptionist type thing for a women's arts society. And while I was doing that, I went to Georgetown University continuing ed, and I got a certificate as a legal assistant or paralegal. And then I worked at a law firm as sort of a receptionist / legal assistant for about 3 years. Then I went to law school, and during law school I worked for the public defenders of Maryland, mostly death penalty defense unit. Then when I graduated from law school, I passed both the Maryland and DC bar, but I moved back to Virginia. So while I was waiting to take the Virginia bar, which I did take and subsequently passed, I passed 3 bars, never practiced law. I was working as a law clerk for a small law firm in Northern Virginia, but I found out that they were doing really shady things, so I quit very abruptly. And then I sort of floundered because the whole reason I went to law school is because I really wanted to do poverty type law, like represent battered women or, go after landlords that weren't taking the lead out of the paint and that sort of thing. but that involves all sorts of litigation, and I really didn't want to be in court all the time. I just couldn't handle it. My temperament isn't like that. I'm not adversarial enough. So I was floundering, and I wound up getting a job at an organization called the Washington Center for Internships and Experiential Education. And what I did there was I was sort of the, I arranged internships for students from colleges all around the country who would come to DC, and we would provide room and board for them, and I was the oversight to make sure, I would get them the internships, and then I would make sure they were showing up and fulfilling their colleges or universities' requirements for the credit, and then I would actually sign off on it in order to give them credit for the internship. I really enjoyed that. I did that for a couple of years. Then I got pregnant, had a baby, and then I worked part-time for a year. But then I had another baby, and that's when I decided to just stay home with the kids. I did work for about 7 or 8 years. I taught at classical co-ops for homeschoolers, so once a week, teaching things like, all sorts of things, but mostly Latin, history, English or writing, that sort of thing. So I did do that. I did work a little bit during those 21 years that I was homeschooling. And now I'm a nanny. Let's see, do I have kids? Number 4, do you have kids? Yes, I have 5 children. Well, they're all grown up now. My oldest is 29, and she has a master's in education, and she is a public school teacher. She teaches 7th grade English. She was a social studies teacher, but then she qualified for English as well. And she really enjoys her job. She has a real heart for special ed and the English as a second language students. And her husband works for a charity that raises money for literacy for poor kids. And they have a little baby boy who's just over 4 months old right now. He's the first grandson. So that's them. My next child is, he's 27. He just got married last May. They are expecting their first child in April, right around my birthday. And he went to the Berklee College of Music and graduated with a degree in composition. He also plays classical guitar. His wife went to Boston University and is graduated in their opera program, so she's got a gorgeous voice. She's an opera singer, and now she is a professional cantor. And she also, I think she works at a bed and breakfast place in Boston. They live in Boston. And my son, he's sort of in the gig economy, but he sort of patches together different jobs from public schools, private schools, his own private students. He does some arranging, I think, and he's still writing. He puts on these wonderful musicals. They're very whimsical. So he's a pretty interesting guy. In fact, he probably will resent me saying this, but he made the cover of the Boston Sunday Globe. This is January 7th, 2018, because he donated a kidney to save this woman's life. It says, joined forever by a brazen act of kindness. He hardly knew her, but volunteered a kidney that could save her. They will never be strangers again. That's the back of my son. And then here's a picture of him showing off his scar. There he is. Anyway, that's pretty cool that he did that. I'm very proud of him. So then the next one, my middle son, lives at home. He didn't get along so well with college. He tried it a couple times, didn't work out. He's very hands-on, task-oriented. So he has worked at a sailing marina for the last 5 years. He loves working outdoors. He loves repairing boats and just all the different kinds of tasks that, my questions disappeared. This always happens to me. Oh, there you go. So anyway, and he lives at home. He's a really good a good son. He goes every week to visit his grandfather and helps take care of him. And he's sort of branching out now. He's sort of, he took a workshop on welding. He's kind of interested in that. He's also interested in beekeeping. In fact, we just went to a movie this Tuesday about bees, which I highly recommend. It's called The Pollinators. If you can see it, I recommend it. So anyway, so he's a good kid. I'm glad he lives here. He lives at home, and he's very helpful to have at home because he gets a lot of stuff done. Then my youngest son is just about to turn 21 on Sunday, December 22nd. And he lives at home also, and he is commuting to the local state university. He's studying. He's also very musical, like his older brother, but he sort of dabbles in it as opposed to being ambitious about a career in it. But he's very talented. But he's studying, right now he's studying geography and Korean. So, and then my youngest is 18, and she is attending university nearby, but she lives away from home, and she's studying psychology and minoring in voice. She also has a lovely voice. So that's my kids. And then about almost 4 years ago, we found out about this poor woman who was completely alone in the world with a baby, and we have a finished basement, and so we wound up taking her in, and she's sort of become like an honorary daughter. I think she's 31 or 32, and her little boy is the boy I look after, or the one I always call the 4-year-old, and we're sort of raising him. He's like our honorary grandson, and we've been raising him since he was a little baby. I mean, he's been living with us, and we've been taking care of him. So those are all my kids and my honorary kids and honorary grandchildren. Do you have any pets? Yes, we are down to one cat named Clover. We used to have a dog and 3 cats, but the 2 cats got old and died within like about 14 months. Our 2 cats, who were old, they were getting up there, passed away. And then our dog, our Sheltie, Tilly, that we'd had for 10 years, suddenly got ill and died. So in my grief, I went out and rescued a dog. We called him Skipper. And he turned out to be a plot hound. They said he was a lab mix. No. He was a plot hound. And they are bred, they're the state bear of North Carolina. They're bred to hunt bears. They do not belong in the suburbs. I spent 8 months trying to train that dog. He was just, he was just incorrigible. I loved him, even though he was really difficult, but we couldn't keep him. He just destroyed everything. You couldn't contain him. He was kind of a fear biter. I knew I was going to be watching a little infant. I was always in fear for the 4-year-old, or who was 3-year-old at the time. So it just didn't work out. We had neighbors complain. He had the loudest bark, which would scare a bear. Very loud bark. And he just was stubborn and had a mind of his own. And he broke through gates. You couldn't contain him. He would destroy everything. He was just a real character, so we had to return him. So I'm kind of grieving. I had to return him on my birthday last year. It was terrible. It was a terrible time. Anyway, so right now we just have one cat, Clover, and then we have 2 aquariums because my husband's into fish. So we've got a freshwater tank and a saltwater tank. And yes, we have little Nemos, and saltwater tanks are really hard to take care of. They're just a constant chemistry problem because it's very hard to get everything just right so that it's healthy. So, so that's what we have. We like animals. I would like to get another dog, but I just don't know. I have to get over all the recent trauma before I do. Anyway, so that's pets. Number 6, can you drive? Yes. I'm a nervous driver. I'm not a fast driver. And since I have cataracts, I can't drive at night very well at all. I'm probably going to get an operation in the summer because that's when the calendar will clear up. But yes, I drive, and I can drive stick shift or automatic. Let's see. Number 7. What is or was your favorite subject at school? Well, English, history, art, and philosophy, I would say, would be my 4 favorites. What is your favorite color? My favorite color is green. I like all shades of green. My house has lots of green paint, and I love nature and the mountains, and I like kind of natural colors, and green, all shades of green. I find it very calming, soothing. What is your favorite smell? I don't know how to say it. Is it bergamot? B-E-R-E-G. Am I spelling it right? B-E-R-G-E-M-O-T? I don't know how to say it, but whenever something scented that, I always say, oh yeah, I love the smell. But I also just love wood smoke, and anything, when you're hungry, anything baking or cooking smells good. Fresh coffee smells good. Flowers, hyacinths, I think, smell really good. Oh, Easter lilies. I love Easter lilies at Easter time. Lots of favorite smells. What is your favorite book or top 3? So I'll go for the top 3, and I've said these before, I think. Maybe not the third one, but To Kill a Mockingbird, Pride and Prejudice, and I'm going to say the Bible, just because I don't know if it's my favorite in that, it's just important. It's really important, and it's, endlessly worth exploring and learning. So those would be my top 3: To Kill a Mockingbird, Pride and Prejudice, and the Bible. So that is the end of this tag, and I'm going to have a really busy weekend, so we'll see when I can post again. I do get time occasionally to look at other people's videos, which is always fun. And at some point I want to come back and do the other tags. So anyway, I tag anybody who happens to see this, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.